Welcome back, guys. All right. So, if you might have noticed, I changed my name, Crypt Keeper. I've been wanting to express my wider range in crypto interests. However, on Solana, I'm here to stay. You know, I love my Solana NFTs. So that'll always be part of the show. However, I thought it was more fruitful, I guess you could say, to bring more attention to the Solana market, bring more attention to crypto, reach a wider audience, potentially, hopefully overall provide a better experience in the STRX Sean Thomas Russell XS show, aka the Crypt Keeper. All right, so today a single $31 million trade was made on the S&P 500. That might have sparked the whole market uptrend that we saw today. And did that bleed into crypto? Is that more indicative of a wider confidence entering the market, or was this just a strong impulsive buy on the corrective side of the current downtrend in all markets? Let's look at a few things, and let's start with the Bitcoin chart. All right, so a few things we're noticing here is that if you follow me on Twitter, I mentioned some really interesting metrics as far as what's been happening with Bitcoin historically and where we are right now. On our Chaikin volatility, we're at 12.4 points. That suggests that according to the strength, we're looking at some midterm downside. It's 57% right now in the mid for our BBWP. Seeing some expansion here on the 1 hour. As far as the 5-day goes, it looks like we're not showing much opportunity for a back trace, and it's reflected in our volume bars here where we see a couple of 90th percentiles and the rest are third quartiles. So that's not a great thing in that historically we've been really low volume overall for the past 2 weeks. Right now, it's not going to take a lot for the market to weigh on one side of the buys or sells. If you look at profitability, it's not really giving us a clear indication for a more market uptrend or downtrend. Best way to read sentiment right now in the market is looking at volatility. I noticed that there's a couple of turning points in price in mid-July. We saw on the 16th, we go from the 16th to the 17th, where we have a quick pivot, as where the rest of the month, we had some really downside as far as upside of price on deviations. A couple of other trends in August. Throughout most of August, we've been seeing some upside on percentage returns, right, for our standard deviations on volatility. However, we've been here before historically on the metrics. If you look at the exchange net flow in 2020, August through September, we've had some similar metrics on volume and net flow from exchanges in and out as we do now. So I've posted some of those findings on my Twitter, but I think that if you're looking at past or previous moods to read or gauge the current sentiment or current mood of the market, I think we're following a similar trend as we did in 2020. And I also mentioned based on the Fear and Greed Index in 2018 at this time of the year as well, September and October. So overall, market behavior continues to cycle. And we're at the same point we normally are across a 2-year span. So this will be 2020, 2022 currently, 2020, and then 2018. So what do we know about 2020? That was the year of the halving. We have 2024 coming up. So 2018 being relatively where we were right now, which is the year before the halving. So for Bitcoin price targets, short term, I think that we can look for 21,000 in the next couple of days if we can close above 20,800, which it looks like if we don't close tonight, then we need to close tomorrow at 20,800, and I don't think that we have a strong chance of that happening unless we get more price upside while RSI continues to show strength. But we're going to need to show some resolve on the behavior, so we're going to need to see some strength trough off a bit before we have another move up. And we can't take back too much price. So if we fall below 20,100 or even just 20,000 again, I think we see more downside for the immediate term. And next couple of days, if we fall below 20,000 or we close below 20,100, then we're looking at 19,500 based on our quartiles. We have a paper thin deviation here. So again, any little bit of weighted measurement for the upside or downside can make a strong effect on price here. We are seeing an uptick in volatility, however, and volume, but overall, I think that was just a short-term or a temporary trend based on some initial spark in the market, and that could be a result of some of the macro talks from Fed on pivots, things like that, and employment numbers. However, I think that could eventually turn against us pretty quickly, as I think a lot of people are going to take this opportunity to take some sell-off. Again, Bitcoin, immediate term, we need to close above 20,100 in the next couple of days to see a higher mark. I think that if we can continue upwards, based on the metrics, again, 22,300 is our next step after 20,100. If we can't close above 20,100, we're likely to fall below 20,000, looking at 19,500 as the lower end of that target for the next few days. Solana, the 1 hour. All right, so strong upward channel forming out right here, and we see this Elliott. So a couple of the things that I wanted to mark or bring attention to is the intervals on behavior. So we see a full 3-day uptrend here for behavior on Solana, especially if we can close above this $34 mark, 34.50 cents mark on Solana. We'll definitely confirm this upward trend on a 3-day movement for Solana. So October 3rd to October 6th, we have a full uptrend move on Solana, as where previously 28th to the 30th didn't really reach a full 3-day mark. See, 26th of September to the 27th on a 3-day mark, we're rather going down. So we have an upside and a downside for 3 days, but now this is the first time where we've actually experienced a full stretch of upside on a trend. So if we can get to a 5-day mark and we can continue this move up for Solana, I think that'll be extremely bullish. I think that will definitely require a bigger significator in Bitcoin to do so. However, as all things follow, if Solana can break this $34.50, just like Bitcoin can close above 20,100 in the next couple of days, then I do think we have some upside opportunity, much more upside opportunity for Solana than Bitcoin, in that profitability is scaling up slightly, but barely breaking that 50% mark. So Solana looking like a 30% chance to hit $35, but I think that 35% chance is a little bit underweighted, because if you look at our quartile deviation, I think that we're seeing some indication that there is some confidence entering on Solana. We see a handful of 90th percentiles, and the rest even some 4s and 3s. So some really strong volume and not much result as far as price moving up. So I think this is some stronger evidence of confidence entering into Solana. You see here a weighted opportunity on sells really brought price down, but not very much. So volatility entering in for Solana, but overall really low still. We could see some volume take on some strength. So similar situation, we're on the top side of our strength indicator here. So at the top of this channel that we've been currently trying to push above. So we do have some immediate downturn for, at least for the behavior on Solana. So if we're looking for another 3, this could be a longer term one here, or a short term third triplet move. So we're looking for a second triplet to form out here. And then maybe if we have a double 3, then we can look for a triple 3 after that. However, I am thinking that upside opportunity for Solana again in the next day or two will be $35. If we can't break above this $34 today or tomorrow, we continue to build into this pressure and have a strong chance in that case to break down to the downside and fall back probably around this mark of $32, but more likely we'll stay around this, we'll trend around this median at $33.60. Veracity, again, another coin that really requires some news to bring attention to it in order for the price to move. Saw some price gappage lately, which suggests that volatility is not really settling down, or rather settling up. Synchronicity weighing really heavy on the buy side lately. So would we expect a pivot? I don't think that would be out of the cards or unwise to expect a change in trend for the downside. as I mentioned, I think that with this current uptrend in the market, this minor rally that we've been experiencing the past few days, I think a lot of people will take this opportunity to sell off. But I don't think that we're entering a sell-off market. I think this is an impulse market right now. So you see profitability leaning to the downside barely. We have a slight possibility for breakout, while there's no bars larger in volume than the current bar. However, it's basically even, and our total price readout is giving us a really thin spread at upside 39.7, downside 39.3. So Veracity with this falling bottom, some bearish indicators lately. Yeah, and being the top side of strength right now, I don't think that we're gonna see this strength expand out very much. So you're looking at a pretty clear indication, and also based on our dispersion here on our quartiles, that we've exhausted some bullishness for the immediate term. But for the next couple of days, I do think that we're going to settle around this 37.6 mark. And if we can bounce off the 37.6 mark, I think we have a strong chance to, again, challenge the 4 for Veracity in the next 3 to 5 days. Luna Classic. Okay, so Luna Classic popped way above the channel that I expected. I expected us to fall back beneath this 2.8 mark and trend parallel to this downtrend. However, we've stayed above 3 and we've paralleled this downtrend, but at a much higher level than expected, which gives us some opportunity, but we need to close strong for in the next couple of days. If we can close above 31.7, which is a short-term support and resistance, then I think our chances of trending at a higher initial balance, being above 33, so forming into this channel or forming longer runs within this larger range here, is likely to happen at a 45% chance. And you see that kind of matching our profitability, weighing to the downside, however. So based on our quartile deviation, I'm getting that readout. And we see here possibility of breakout for the current bar at 43%. So really, this current bar is not giving us a total volume higher than any of the last 10 hours. And that's not a clear indication on our current progress for Luna Classic, because Luna Classic's total quartile on our last 10 hours has only 1/90th percentile and a couple of 3 quartiles. So overall, low volume compared to what we've been seeing. And I think that with this strength, Luna Classic trending almost every day on Twitter for the past 2 weeks about, I think that if we do see some downside, again, as I mentioned many times in the show, or all the time on this show, if we see lower prices, we usually see a nice, strong rally. But as I pointed out on Twitter too, historically, when we've been consolidating like this, or at least seeing some consolidation-like patterns, we've been forming long-term channels. And every single time we have, preceding these moments, 90th quartile breakouts on upsides. If we can close above 31, I think we have minor attempt at a push-up towards 33 again. But if we hit this 28 mark, I think we bounce off of it really strong. And I think we could push for 35 or higher. I think that the mean deviation will really flip at around 10 points. So if we hit this 8-point plus mark at 2.3, 10-point plus mark would be at 20. I don't think we need to go that low. If we hit 2.3, I think we can bounce off of this really hard, hit an initial balance above 37, and probably begin to trend around 4 on the higher end. Injective doing a song and dance with synthetic on Coinbase, the 2 strong synthetic offerings on derivatives on that exchange. So similar looking to Solana in the moment, in that it has formed a longer interval on trend here, matching what we saw a few weeks ago from the 23rd of September to the 26th or 25th. So that's a few days. 3rd of October to the 6th of October saw a strong, or 5th of October saw a strong trend on 2 days, upward movement, pullback. We're using a little bit of behavior to read. We have a triplet formed out here. Now we're having to resolve this current wave down. And in that case, I think we'll continue to build into this pressure here. we could challenge the $2 mark in the next couple of days. I think it's more likely that we challenge the $2 mark than not challenge it. However, profitability is marking for a downside trend. So if we do resolve this on the downside closer to this bottom of the flag at 185, I think we'll see that for sure in the next few hours, 185. If we don't touch 185 and we settle more at 186 and go sideways here, then you're likely to challenge this $2 mark sooner and have more opportunity to break above it. But if we draw out with higher bounces inside of this pressure, I think that it looks like we have a 40% chance of breaking out of this to the downside in the end. Synthetics. So while injective is moving down, synthetics is moving back up. Not much interval spread on synthetics. However, much stronger upside readout for the current term with a 55% chance of breakout on this current volume bar. Seeing a lot of 90th percentiles showing up here, but not much result. So profitability showing market uptrend. So I think that when injective flips and starts to go up, synthetics, if they're continuing to do this song and dance, you see a stronger downside for synthetics and likely stretching out this bottom area of this channel. We're probably going to touch it again at 2.2. So if we have another wave down on the 1, that's pretty bullish for synthetics. So likely when they flip again, synthetics will make a strong chance at challenging this $2.50 mark within the next few days. But more likely than not, this profitability will swing and we'll see synthetics take at least up to 5 days to get to this, based on behavior, get to this $2.50 mark if we don't do it right away. In the next 2 days, again, price marks for synthetics looking like $2.20 in 1 day. On day 2, $2.40, and then within 5 days, $2.50 for the downside. I don't think that I don't think that we have that much chance of breaking under $2.20. But if we do, the high end of a $2 mark is historically the strongest support we've seen for synthetics. Serum taking on a lot of upside pressure lately, and I had some interesting metrics to look at on Serum's exchange net flow. However, see, we broke out of this pressure here and didn't form out, but we came back into it and shot back out of it. So we're kind of getting an idea of what Serum wants to do with buys and sells here. And while we have expanding bottoms, it's not showing much weakness. If we can't close above 80 cents in the next 2 days, then we continue to build into this pressure and likely fall out of it, land right on top of this mark at 7.7 once again, with likelihood of continuing our wide range from 7.7 to 7.2 at the bottom side in the next 5 days. DXY, so we formed a second candle in the month above the 10. I'd like to see, as we've mentioned here before, that we fall out of this, and if history patterns well enough, we're likely to see a resolve on this matter at some point within the next month or two. All right, so let's take a look at that Serum. So Serum's exchange reserve, look at this, totally pumped up against the price. So while Serum is making some strides on the market and not showing much volatility on price, this is sneakily a really good, as I mentioned before, a really good opportunity for entry on Serum. Saw some really strong divergence indicators popping up on Serum lately. And while we had some hidden bulls and some hidden bears, overall, our range remains really tight on Serum. So while it might look like price is pretty scattered on behavior, I think that this is a widening consolidation range here. And based on our speed fan, when we're falling out of it, usually when we fall to the bottom third of it and we pop back into the middle, that's showing that it's got some strength. So I'd like to see what Serum can do if it continues to bounce off of this upward trend here. But if we fall back into this this lower trend, a lower fan, does that suggest that we're building another new initial balance on the speed fan up here? It might. So looking at the news, Pyre, PYR, Vulcan Forge gets an $8 million seed round fund from Skybridge. Skybridge, we've been talking a lot about Skybridge lately, but this is for an accelerated growth on a specific project of Vulcan Forge's called Metascapes, a play-to-earn metaverse that they're building. Pyre, somewhat smaller than Gala, but similar as a multi-game ecosystem. I like this, but I think that Pyre has much more to offer. And I think that this $8 million seed fund is just the beginning for Pyre. I think that there's a lot more growth for it. I expect more funding to come for Vulcan Forge. Pyre is going to make a really strong move when we start to see the market turn around. And reason why I wanted to bring this up is that when you start to see gaming funding, usually gaming's low caps lead markets. So we're starting to see a lot of lead indicators again on strength in the market and confidence. And so we tend to see that with meme coins and low caps, as I mentioned. A lot of the low caps often are new projects or gaming projects which have money passing in and out of it. They don't tend to have a lot of total value locked in for a longer term. I think this might be a quiet indicator that we are starting to see confidence enter the market again. I like this article here, World's Cultural Heritage being preserved by NFTs. I think that, art over currencies, a lot of currencies break down, but art is one of the few proven things that maintains and actually increases in value over large amounts of time. One of the extraordinary ways to preserve artifacts and preserve art is and could be NFTs. And I think that this is a great way to express the opportunity that NFTs provide to the world. Cultural preservation and art theory and art history have a lot to gain from NFTs and digital commodities. So last one, we saw some bullish talk again entering into the market. We just talked about confidence re-entering the market. And that could have been based off that $31 million option put on S&P that sparked that rally. I think the bigger picture is easier to look at in this case, in that the market is waiting for somewhere to put their money. Everybody's looking for something to make money off of or somewhere to put their money and keep it safe from inflation or the Fed or Gov or all these changes in this uncertain macro environment. And I think that's a bigger indicator of what's happening here. And so in that case, it becomes more clear that confidence is entering the market. So last one, Nasdaq urging regulators to take a better step forward and start providing clearer guidelines because everybody's itching to get in. Institutions and individuals, all investment circles are looking for somewhere to put their money. Everybody wants to make money right now and also want to keep their money safe. The crypto market is the greatest opportunity there is right now for infrastructure, for opportunity, for a new drive, for a progressive view on financial markets, for a progressive view on jobs, and a clear way to execute expansion. Okay, well, that's it. Trade safe, have fun. We'll see you in the next one. Thank you, bye.